with a recording fee. Boom, they stamp it, put it in public record, and the deal is official and they're off paying me monthly. And again, if they don't pay me, then I'm taking the land back and doing that process all over again with a new buyer. 5 to 10 year note and a pretty low down payment. I like to keep my down payments low because I want to sell the land quickly and I'm confident that I can take it back and sell it for as much or more. It's funny. Some of these pieces of land are almost like ATMs, especially if you're in a landlord, quote unquote, landlord friendly state, such as Texas, where I do a lot of my deals. For instance, I have a gentleman right now who fell behind on his payments, isn't able to pay me. I've collected $4,000 or $5,000 from him on a 1 acre piece of land. I send him a notice. He doesn't respond. 20 days later, I send him another notice. Hey, your note has been accelerated and I'm going to take the land back. I collected, I think, probably $2,500 down from him and several monthly payments of $700. Now I'm going to go take the land back and sell it again. I'm able to do that because the land is a great piece of land. It's in a great market. So down payments relatively low on my side. I keep the notes 5 to 10 years. I don't like going longer than 10-year notes just because to me, 10 years is a long time. And also if I want to sell those notes to investors, which I do a lot of, that's note's going to be hit with a steeper discount, right? Because money in the future is worth a lot less than money today. So any investor who wants to come in and buy that performing land note is going to, 65, 70 cents on the dollar probably, as opposed to a 3, 4, 5 year note where they can give me 80, 85 cents on the dollar to come buy that note from me. So 5 to 10 year notes, I like getting my money back, obviously, as quickly as possible. I'll sell those notes, low down payments to make it move relatively quickly. If you can get more down payment, by all means, especially as a beginner, because you need that capital to go put back into your business and do more deals, right? So the higher down payment you can get, cool. Personally, I like to keep it relatively low, less than 5%. But some are going to want to be in that 10 to 20% range. And just know if you're looking for a 20% down and the piece of land's not moving, just drop your down payment and your buyer pool is going to become way wider and more folks can be able to afford it.
So you're talking about when you own the land and you have someone else that's buying it from you.
Mm-hmm.
Are you also paying someone else to seller finance, basically their seller financing to you? So you're kind of making this spread in between?
Yes, exactly. So what I was just talking about is when I'm selling the land, I'm asking for those low down payments, those monthly payments, but I also utilize seller financing when I'm buying a piece of land. And that way I'm able to pay the sellers. And basically what I do is I use a special deed of trust in Texas. It really has two special clauses in it. One that allows me to sell or lease all or part of the land while I'm paying the seller. So it's basically just removing that due on sale clause. And two, a clause that requires them to give me a partial release of a prorated fraction of the land. So if I have 100 acres I'm buying from them, I want to release 10 acres and sell it to Joe Schmo. I go to that underlying seller and do 1/10 times the remaining principal balance, and I get a partial release, it's called, for that fraction of land so that I can deliver free and clear title to my buyer. So really, it's all just in the deed of trust. It's just a couple of little tweaks that any real estate attorney can make for you or any of your listeners. And that allows me to, as you're saying, make the spread between what I'm paying the seller and between what my buyers are paying me. So it's kind of this arbitrage in the land game with cash flow.
What do interest rates look like on these seller financing deals typically?
I've never been able to get one at 0%, but I know folks who have. For me, it's typically in the 5 to 10% range. I'm usually offering them 7%. And what I'll usually do is I'll hit them with two offers. One is, hey, I want to buy your land today. Here's your cash price. And I want to buy your land today. Here's your seller financing price. And so I offer like a cash price to them that's obviously lower, probably 20 to 30% lower usually than my seller finance price to them, because obviously I don't want to pay cash. I don't want to go get my own financing. I want to use them as the bank. So it's like, hey, your $300,000 piece of land, I'll give you, $225 cash today, or we can seller finance 300,000 over 5 to 10 years at, call it, 7% interest.
Oh, cool. Got it. So they have the option. And then do you ever, if you are going and buying these deals in cash, have you ever taken on investors or just your own money?
Yeah, I've taken on investors. I love using private money. Uh, what I like doing now is finding private investors who want to come in and basically step into that seller's shoes when they won't hold the note for me. I'll find a private investor to come in and basically just seller finance it to me on my creative deed of trust that we just talked about. So then I can go subdivide it and sell it off. I see probably 12 to 18% interest in the private investor market for deals like that. Um, you know, it can be viewed as quite high, but when you're double, triple, quadrupling your money on a subdivision, these things move so quickly. It's like, yes, the interest is higher, but how much interest are you actually paying? Is it still worth it? Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk about subdividing a little bit. So how does that differ from what you're doing now? So you're taking a piece of land, subdividing up into sections, and then who do you
Yes.
sell those subdivisions to?
So believe it or not, I actually do not work with a lot of developers. I think there's kind of this misnomer out there that you need to go out, you need to buy a piece of land, create paper lots, and sell it to a home builder who's going to build homes on it and cash you out, etc. I actually sell it straight to the average everyday person who's looking to get out of the city and have 1 to 10 acres of land where they can put a home on it. They can do a mobile home. They can have horses, livestock, and just get away from the city life. And there's a huge market for that right now. So basically, what I go in and identify 30 minutes to an hour outside of, it doesn't have to be a major metropolis. You know, DFW is obviously a huge metropolis and area, Dallas, Fort Worth, anywhere within an hour radius. But I work markets that are Fort Stockton, Texas, where it's 10,000 people. And there's still plenty of demand for 10-acre lots, 30 minutes outside the city. So 30 minutes to an hour outside of a city, um, good water. They're able to get water. They're able to have power. And I go in, subdivide a bigger chunk down to smaller lots. It's oftentimes pretty simple. And then I sell it on Facebook most of the time, Facebook Marketplace, some MLS, and landsofamerica.com, which is kind of the eBay for land, call it. And I sell it straight to the average user who's going to go out there and put a mobile home or build a barndominium, whatever they want to do with it. And that's kind of my bread and butter right now. To me, it's the best way to scale a land business is to subdivide.
So how like pieces of land? I mean, but there's probably a decently small buyer pool for that. Like how many people are looking for that specific thing? Is it, am I wrong? Is it pretty big?
I think it's pretty big, or maybe it's just because it's a competitive or a non-competitive market, more of a niche market, and so there's not, a million homes for sale. There's only a few people doing what I'm doing, but most of my stuff, these subdivides, we'll have them sold in 3 to 6 months. Like the one I did in Midland County, Texas, it was 74 lots. That was like a $5 million deal, my Jazz Acres subdivision. That all sold in 6 months, and I still get hit up probably 3 times a day. Hey, when you getting more land out here? So the demand is there. I think it's growing actually because of all the craziness in today's world, political unrest, economy going crazy. People want to own something that's theirs. They can have it if they ever need it, go move out of the city, have, whatever they deem that they need for quote unquote doomsday or economic unrest, whatever. They like the security of, having a piece of land and something that's no one can bug them and it's their property.
That's super cool. So how do you, I just gotta ask you, how do you sell a piece of land? Because it's not like a
Yeah.
property, where you can throw a picture up of the side of the building or something. What does that look like on the marketing side?
Yeah. So drone photos are key. I think drone photos and video, we'll go out and take good drone photos and drone video of the property. I like to keep my stuff relatively straightforward. I don't show any of my land. So that's like one thing that's different. I actually don't like to work with realtors or brokers. And even if I was working with a broker, they wouldn't be out showing a piece of land, driving 30 minutes outside the office, 30 minutes back on a daily basis. That's just not practical. So we do it all online, post good photos, a solid description, good location. And then when someone's interested, we say, hey, go check out the piece of land. Here's the GPS or the address. They'll go check it out. And then we'll start having discussions on, if they're interested, okay, closing package. Are we using a title company? Are we closing straight through me, which I do a lot of, just self closings with pieces of land. And, if back when I was starting, now I have the credibility where I can send someone, my company website or Facebook page. But back when I was starting, people were like, I can buy land from you online. Like, you're just going to email me the closing packages. We're not working with like a realtor or a title company. Like, it is a little foreign to a lot of buyers. But if you have the systems and processes and credibility in place, you'll move past that right away. And like I said, 90% of my stuff probably I self close without a title company, straight with my buyers.
Wow. So what are the mechanics of that? How do you pull that off without a title company?
Yeah, so always make sure to have good, clean title when you buy it. Obviously, I like to get, especially in these larger pieces, title policy in place, insured, etc. So I know that I own this land free and clear. And when I go to sell it, I do just a closing package. It usually has like a closing statement and receipt, an authorization form, so I can bill them monthly through my processing system that we have in-house, a deed of trust, a promissory note, and the survey. Basically, I mean, that's it. It's like 4 or 5 documents, just a simple little email instructions. Hey, print this out, go see a notary. Here's my wiring instructions if you want to wire me a down payment or send me a check back with the documents. So we just tell them, hey, go print out these owner finance documents. It's going to be a little bit different depending on what state you're operating in: Texas, Virginia, Michigan, wherever. But it's all basically the same: a promissory note and something that secures the land that gets recorded of public record at the courthouse. And you do that yourself. I send it off to the courthouse with a recording fee. Boom, they stamp it, put it in public record, and the deal is official, and they're off paying me monthly. And again, if they don't pay me, then I'm taking the land back and doing that process all over again with a new buyer.
Yeah, so guys, what you're listening to is it's basically a low friction approach to transacting. So if it's something that's unfamiliar, you don't want to give people any reason to say no to the transaction because logistically it doesn't make sense or whatever. So what it sounds like John has created is
Yeah.
just really that low friction approach.
You
And
hit it